is teetering not just on the edge of recession, but potentially worse.
Voters getting a dose of doom and gloom from Barack Obama. Hey everyone, I'm Cheryl Casoni. This is Bulls and Bears. Brenda Butner, she'll be back next week. Is the Democratic frontrunner on the right track or using financial fear to win votes in Tuesday's critical Pennsylvania primary? Let's find out in the trading pit. The Bulls and Bears this week: Gary B. Smith, Tobin Smith, Pat Dorsey, Scott Blyer, along with Matt McCall of Penn Financial, and Peter Schiff, author of the book Crash Proof. Welcome to all of you. All right, Gary B., we headed for something worse than a recession?
No, I'm not. I won't even concede recession, and even if we are in a recession, it's going to be mild at best. You know, let's look at some of the facts. The whole pillars of this downturn have been in two areas. One, the credit crisis. But actually, bank lending is up 8% since August, when this whole mortgage mess more or less started. And B, the housing prices. But housing prices, if you look at the entire country, are down only about 3% over last year. In fact, in half the states, they're up about 3% from fourth quarter 2006 through 2007. So, you know, if we're going to have worse than a recession, this is there's just not facts behind that premise.
When did you become so positive? Who are you?
I'm just looking at the facts, Cheryl.
What is this, Gary B? You've
You should
changed
watch
on
the show
me.
more often, Cheryl.
Where have I been? I've missed the show. All right, Peter Schiff. I know you think that we're in a recession, but what's worse than that, and are we there?
Well, you know, he's on the right track, but it's actually even worse than Barack thinks. The problem is we're on the verge of an economic collapse, not just a recession. What's happening is the foundation of our bubble economy, which consists of consumer credit and consumption, is giving way. And we're going to have to transition or rebuild a sounder foundation based on savings and production. And to get from where we are to where we have to be, it's going to involve a protracted economic decline. Simultaneous, we're going to have a substantial increase in consumer prices. And unfortunately, maybe Barack is identifying the problem, but what he's likely to do as president is going to slow down the free market forces trying to correct these imbalances, and he's going to make the situation worse, both a bigger contraction and even higher inflation.
Scott, is this just scare politics going on here?
I think election year histrionics are being spewed by everybody. Listen, we've had a boom-bust cycle over the last 5 years. We've had a nice boom, and now we're having a bust. The difference between this bust and other cycles are that housing prices got a little too high. There was too much leverage in the system, which has been unwound very quickly. And all of this is going to work out just fine. We've got a booming worldwide economy. You know, Peter Schiff has it half right. We're not destroying the foundations. We're going through a normal cycle. And once the cycle is done and the leverage is unwound, our $13 trillion economy and globalization of the whole world is going to be beneficial to us.
Pat?
Well, I'm not as bearish as Mr. Schiff, but I don't think I'm completely sanguine about the possibility that things get uglier than they are now. I mean, I think, you know, the analogy I'd like to make is, you remember those old maps of the flat Earth? You got to the edge and it said, you know, here be monsters, terra incognita, we don't know what's beyond there. That's kind of where we are right now, because we've never been in an extended environment of declining real estate prices. It just hasn't happened on a national basis for an extended time. And we know that on the way up, there was a positive wealth effect. Rising real estate prices positively affected consumer spending. Looks like that's being negative on the way down. We don't know how long it'll last, so I don't think you can discount the possibility of something ugly.
Toby, what do you think?
Well, you know, with the silver hair here, I will say that over the last 25 years, there's been a lot of guys like Peter. I remember guys in the 70s. I remember guys in the 80s. I remember the 90s. And it was always sort of the same. Listen, we're debasing our system.
And the world is coming to an end.
And that we have to go through this cathartic thing. And everybody was always looking for Dow 5000. I remember, you know. And the piece I think Peter's missing, number one, is how flexible our actual economy is, one. Number two, that we have 1.5 billion new consumers throughout the world that have entered the economies economies of the world, the global, since 1995. And that's a new dynamic that has really changed to the positive, our ability to grow.
Peter, what do you think?
Well, look, I'm very bullish on the global economy. I've been investing there for years, and I agree that the global economy is in good shape, and they're going to be in even better shape when they allow the U.S. economy to collapse, because they've been supporting us and we've been suppressing their economic growth because we borrow and
word
consume.
collapse, Peter. You use this word collapse, and when you use a word like that, it debases your whole point, because it makes it sound like you're hysterical, which you are.
No, it is going to be a collapse, and my track record on forecasts is pretty good for the past 8 to 10 years.
For collapses.
So don't diminish it.
Okay,
no,
right.
it is. We're going to go through a protracted decline. It's just getting started. This is the tip of the iceberg. This is not a normal recession like we had in the late 2000 or
all right. I need a
1990.
tiebreaker. I'm going to Matt McCall right now. Help me out here.
Listen, how can Peter say that the global economy is good, but the U.S. is going to collapse? I mean, that is ridiculous. You can't have
It's
one
not
or the
ridiculous.
other.
No,
You
it's
can't
not
have one or the
ridiculous.
other.
Well,
Yes, you can. If you understand economics, you can. Because
there's
look,
no
what's
way.
going to happen is when the dollar collapses and other currencies soar, all the consumption that used to take place in America is going to take place in Asia.
Why is it ridiculous, though? Why is it ridiculous?
Because, first of all, we're still the largest nation in the world, the biggest economy in the world. If the biggest economy in the world collapses, you can't tell me it's not going to have an effect on the rest of the world. That is absolutely crazy.
It's going to have a positive effect on the rest of the world. All we do is borrow.
Peter talks about
backwards.
Peter talks about the devaluation of the dollar, and I want to know what Peter uses to go to the supermarket with. Yes, he's paying more, but he's paying with dollars. When he trades his stocks here in America, he gets back American dollars. Does he pay his rent with Deutschmarks? I don't think so.
But I don't
think
save
you pay it
dollars.
with
I don't
American
invest in dollars.
And you know what? There's always been inflation. A little bit is good.
Yeah.
No,
a little bit is good. Yeah, it is good actually. It's better than deflation.
Go back to the 70s. Peter, I remember this exact conversation in the late 70s, when gold prices were soaring and everything else, and the doom and gloomer guys made money really for about 2 to 3 years, and it was great. And then they were wrong for 20 years or 25 years.
Remember the conversations you and I had a few years ago, all right? And think back then.
All right, guys, I got Pat. Pat, last word to you.
There are a lot of cheap stocks. There are a lot of expensive stocks. A lot of cheap ones.
Yay.
Oh, thanks a
We'll
lot.
buy them abroad.
Oh, boy.
U.S. stocks are going to get a lot cheaper.
I need some
And so is the dollar.
antidepressants now before we continue this show. All right, thanks, you guys.